People change. And you also wonder sometimes, I wonder what happened to him. I wonder what happened to her. And then you're driving down the road one day, and you see that girl standing on the corner. She's only 40 years old, but she's been on that flock, she's been on that crack, and she looks like she's 90 years old. You scratch your head, and you say, that look like Wilma. And that God will allow the light to stay on red just a little longer, and you stare at her, and I'll be doggone, that is Wilma. We hung out together. We went to school together. Well, why don't you go and get her? Go and get her. Go and get Wilma. She was your buddy. But we got older, we got grown, and we went separate ways. But we're in the church now, and your soul has been secured. But Wilma's soul is up for grabs. You ought to go and grab Wilma.
Amen.
Saw a young lady just the other day. My wife wasn't with me, but I called her. I was scouting out the neighborhood where we're going to plant our ministry. I looked at this young lady at the red light. I said, oh, I know her. I just couldn't put her name on that face because crack, flocker, and all the other drugs would change your personality. It would change your image. It would change your continent. It will make somebody young look very old because you lose lack of sleep. You lose the interest of living. That drug has taken total control of your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul. And I'm staring at her. And I called my wife. I said, baby, I said, I think I know this woman. And I looked at her and said, I know God is in control because he let the light stay on red about another 4 minutes. And I was just staring at her. This lady had all white hair. Looked like she ain't took a bath in 6 months. And her skin had to dry up. But I saw the features in her face. How many know if you went to school with somebody long enough, they may have changed their outward appearance. But if you look at them long enough, something about them will come back to you. And I looked at her, and tears came to my eyes because that's one of my classmates. And I felt bad for her because I was too ashamed to get out of my car and go and get her. I was too ashamed to go get her. Do anybody in here know a Leroy? Does anybody here know a Shirley? Does anybody here know a Betty? That when you pass by, you turn your head the other way because you don't want her to know you. Does anybody know a Leon? Come on, somebody. Time is winding down. I didn't come to preach a happy message. I come to touch your soul this morning because time out for church folk playing church. You better secure your soul because if you don't, the Bible says God is coming back. He's going to break the bow of the clouds. And if you ain't ready, you're going to be left behind. But until Jesus comes, we all have an opportunity to go get Leroy. Go get him off the couch. Go get him off the park. Go under the bridge. Get him off under the bridge. Go to the jailhouse and get Leroy because we have an obligation. God didn't save us to save us just for ourselves. He saved us to be fishermen. That when we see people that they soul is up for grabs, you ought to go and grab that soul. Do you know a Leroy this morning? Do you know a Leroy? How about your sister walked away from God? How about your biological brother walked away from the Lord, you know where he at. He's in the same place every Sunday morning. It's time that we get up and be about our Father's business because their soul is at stake. You don't want this soul to go to hell. And we sit up here all beautified. But who are you talking to when you're outside of the church? Who are you reaching out to when you're outside of the church? You may say, my mama on crack, I don't care about her, but you better change your attitude. Your mama had a soul. Well, my daddy ain't been in my life for 30 years. That's all right. He still planted that seed. You ought to let God show up in your life in front of your daddy. Do you know Leroy? Leroy's suffering. He's hurting. And we as church folks, we turn our backs on him. Why? Because we feel that that's the right thing to do. But it's time for the people of God to let Jesus show up and lead and guide our life. What if they would have left you in the world? What if nobody came to you because you was lost one time? Your name was Leroy. But I want you to know somebody didn't give up on you. Somebody was concerned about you. You didn't know, but your name was Leroy. At that time, you were stealing, you were robbing, you were smoking, you were prostituting, you were soliciting. But somebody, they tell me, my grandmama prayed for me. Your grandmama prayed for you. She prayed you through. She prayed you over. Show her prayer.
Thank you, Lord. All right now. Yes, sir. Thank God for prayer.
Some of y'all got a Leroy in your life right now that you have given up on. I said somebody in here right now got a Leroy sis that they have given up on. When you leave here today, you ought to go to that Leroy and tell that Leroy, I refuse to let the devil have you. I'm going to pray for you. If anything I can do for you, you let me know, because I was once a Leroy. I was on my way to hell, but somebody prayed for me. Somebody showed a little concern, brother. Somebody told me that they loved me. When was the last time you told that Leroy that you loved him?
Yes. Okay.
When was the last time you told Bobby Joe you loved her? When was the last time you told Freddie Mae that she was beautiful? When was the last time you told Ransom that you were a handsome looking fellow? When was the last time you tried to encourage Leroy? When was the last time you dressed Leroy? You changed the shirt he had on. You slipped him a plate of food. When was the last time, church, that you reached out to Leroy? When was the last time? When was the last time you told your husband he's gonna make it? When was the last time you told your wife that she was the most beautiful thing in the world? When was the last time you encouraged somebody that was left behind. Who is your Leroy this morning? Huh? Who is your Leroy this morning? Somebody you're ashamed to talk about. Somebody you're ashamed of, you are embarrassed of. Only because of the state that they're in. You are ashamed of them. You can't be seen in the public with them. Y'all drive to the mall together, but when you get out, you over there and he over here. Why do you treat Leroy so bad? The world had already turned their backs on him. And why are you turning your back on Leroy? But you say you're a Christian. You say you're Christ-like. But why y'all don't come together in the public? Brother went to school with me. His first name is Larry. My wife and I was in the Sawgrass Mall one afternoon. I told my wife, I said, baby, that's Larry over there. I walked up to him. You know, my wife, she's just kind of. Gotta watch what I say. Because I gotta go home with that woman. But I walked over and I approached Larry. I said, yo, man, how you doing? His hair was looked like hadn't seen a comb in 2 years. His clothes was all raggedy, dirty, and spots and mud all on him. He had an aroma on him out of this world. But here's what upset me. His wife loved him enough to ride in the car with him. But when she got to the mall, Larry was all by himself. She way on up there.